They said space was emptiness, endless and cold, stretching far beyond comprehension. But what if space is not empty, not dead, not even fundamentally real? At the dawn of the 20th century, something strange awakened inside human understanding. A quiet man listened to the whisper of the cosmos and redefined reality forever. Albert Einstein looked at the stars, and instead of silence, he saw a secret. A secret not written in books, but etched deep in the skin of space. Time, he said, was not separate. It was another direction in a deeper map. And space, once thought flat and passive, was curved, alive, responsive to invisible forces. Together, they formed a single body, one entity that breathes, expands, and remembers. This body, called Spacetime, is not something we see, but something we live inside. And yet, we are blind to its true form because we are incomplete beings. We walk with only 3 dimensions, trying to imagine a fourth we cannot hold. Our minds were built for matter, but not for the invisible machinery behind matter. So how do we visualize a 4th dimension when we cannot even picture 3 correctly? Physicists draw it like a grid, suppressing one axis to let time take form. But what we draw is not the truth, only its shadow on a wall. Like projecting Earth onto paper, the shape is distorted, but the laws remain pure. The Earth is not flat, and neither is space-time, but the illusion persists. In that illusion, light bends, planets spiral, and black holes grow like cosmic minds. We calculate the curves of this hidden geometry using equations born from deeper realms. These equations are sacred, not because they are complex, but because they reveal simplicity. This is not Euclidean space, where the shortest path is always a straight line. In curved space-time, straight lines become arcs, and time becomes a kind of direction. The rules are different because the playground is different, and few know the true game. This new geometry is not just math, it's a language spoken by the universe itself. It says, follow the curve, not the line, trust the fall, not the force. Gravity is not pulling you, it's inviting you to surrender to the natural arc. When you fall, you are not being forced downward, you are being guided inward. And Einstein saw this, not through proof, but through a moment of divine imagination. He imagined an elevator falling through space, floating gently, weightless and pure. And he realized, in that moment of falling, you feel no gravity at all. You are not being pushed. You are simply free, moving as space-time wants you to. That feeling, that strange come weightlessness, is the purest experience of gravity itself. Because gravity, in its essence, is not a push or a pull, it is shape. Mass tells space-time how to bend, and space-time tells everything how to move. This is not poetry, it's physics, but it sounds like a sacred mantra. The Earth does not orbit the Sun because of force. It falls in a circle. The same is true for every object, every body, even the light from distant stars. They are all falling, all surrendering to the curvature shaped by mass and energy. Even the International Space Station is not floating. It is falling without end. Its engines are off, and yet it moves perfectly because it follows a curved path. This path, calculated in silence, is drawn by spacetime like brushstrokes on invisible canvas. And so we fall too, though we do not know it, every second of existence. We are falling not downward, but inward toward a center that does not physically exist. We fall through time, through thought, through dreams, and even through the illusion of choice. Einstein chose to protect the one absolute he trusted, the speed of light. He gave up time and space to preserve light, and found truth in its stead. Light moves the same speed, no matter who watches, no matter who moves. This baffled the world, but Einstein made it sacred, the constant heartbeat of the cosmos. He saw that if light refused to change, then time and space had to bend. And so he bent them, not with force, but with belief in invisible harmony. He built a theory from contradiction, from discomfort, from the refusal to lie to oneself. Others looked away, hoping to preserve the comfort of Newtonian thinking. But Einstein walked into the storm, into the chaos, and emerged with clarity. He didn't explain the universe. He revealed its architecture, still hidden beneath veils of illusion. His equations didn't stop at stars and orbits. They predicted things we couldn't imagine. Like black holes, where time stops, light dies, and space folds in on itself. Or an expanding universe, where galaxies flee from one another like echoes of a scream. This expansion frightened even Einstein, and for a time he tried to deny it. But the universe doesn't wait for belief. It moves, it breathes, it unfolds endlessly. And so he let go again, trusting the math more than his own comfort. What else hides within those curves, within the subtle folds of spacetime's sacred skin? Perhaps the answers to life's greatest mysteries are written not in cells, but in curves. Scientists search for the origin of life, but the spark remains untouchable, undefinable. They replicate conditions, stimulate molecules, but cannot conjure life from sterile equations. Because life, like gravity, may be a curve, a consequence of hidden spacetime patterns, and consciousness, that other great mystery, may be the echo of awareness through curvature. We do not know where thoughts arise, where memory lives, where dreams are born. Perhaps they rise from folds in spacetime, from places math touches but cannot explain. Maybe the mind is not inside the body, but the body inside the mind. Maybe consciousness is the natural state of spacetime, awakened by certain resonant geometries. Maybe what we call thought is a ripple, and what we call soul is the source. Science rejects such ideas for now, because they cannot yet be tested or falsified. But truth does not wait for approval. It lives even when hidden beneath doubt. Einstein opened the door, but beyond that door, others must walk, unafraid of mystery, to see that the apple does not fall because of force, but because of invitation, to see that falling is not failure, but alignment with the deeper flow of reality. The apple falls because the earth tells spacetime to curve, and spacetime tells the apple to move. But the tree interferes, breaking the curve, stopping the fall, creating the illusion of force. Once the apple is freed, it simply follows the line spacetime has drawn. That line, curved and beautiful, is not random, it is sacred design. And so too are we, falling, dreaming, wondering, seeking, remembering who we are. Not passengers of time, but participants in a multidimensional unfolding beyond comprehension. We are the experiment, the observers, the dreamers and the dreamed, all at once. And in this first fall, the truth begins to reveal itself, slowly, patiently, perfectly. We left off in the fall, the sacred motion that defines all existence. A fall not downward, but inward toward the invisible core of curved reality. In this descent, truth emerges not as destination, but as awakening from illusion. For centuries, we believed in action at a distance, mysterious forces across the void. Newton called it gravity, a pull from afar, though he sensed something was wrong. He questioned how one object could affect another without contact, across empty space. He accepted what worked, but deep down, he knew the theory was incomplete. Einstein finished what Newton began, replacing force with flow, replacing distance with curvature. Now gravity became geometry, and the Earth was not pulling the apple. Instead, it was shaping space, and the apple was simply following that shape. The tree, ironically, was the obstacle, holding the apple away from its destiny. As soon as the stem let go, the apple followed the curve in peace. This was Einstein's magic, revealing that stillness is resistance, and falling is alignment. We live resisting gravity, constantly fighting our true path, believing we're standing still. But stillness is an illusion, a trick of senses bound to surface perception. In truth, we are always in motion, always falling through time and invisible curvature. Every second, every heartbeat, every dream unfolds along a path shaped by cosmic design. And yet, the mind struggles with this, because the eyes see only the surface. But some things must be felt, not seen, sensed not with sight, but with soul. Einstein did not just use logic, he used imagination, his most powerful scientific tool. He saw beyond the chalkboard, into a place where thought becomes structure, where math breathes. His happiest thought was not a solution, but a question wrapped in falling motion. He imagined himself inside the elevator, floating as it plummeted toward Earth's surface. If you're falling, he realized, you don't feel gravity, you feel freedom instead. And this led to a radical truth, that gravity is the absence of resistance. It is when you stop fighting the curve that you understand its true nature. So he let go, surrendered his mind to the logic of spacetime's silent architecture. What emerged was a new world, where galaxies bend light and time slows near mass. A world where black holes trap not only matter, but the very fabric of time. A world where the universe is expanding, stretching like a breathing organism beyond the stars. This expansion shocked even Einstein, who had assumed a static, eternal, unmoving cosmos. When confronted with its growth, he resisted, added terms to force stillness upon it. But the universe cannot be held back. It expands as truth expands, uncontainable and wild. Later, Einstein called his correction the greatest mistake of his life and smiled humbly. He had tried to silence the whisper of revelation, but truth speaks louder than fear. Since then, others have walked his path, discovering echoes of wisdom hidden in equations. Some search for the theory of everything, a single law that binds all forces. But perhaps they are looking outward when the answer lies within the fall. Because to understand the cosmos, one must also understand the observer within it. And this brings us to consciousness, that ancient fire flickering behind every question. What is it truly? This awareness watching through your eyes at this very moment. No one knows. No equation describes it. No instrument measures its source or flow. We speak of neurons, of signals, of patterns, but we remain outside the sacred gate. Perhaps consciousness is not a product of the brain, but a field that surrounds it. Perhaps it is spacetime itself, aware of its own curvature, dreaming through organic vessels. Perhaps when we fall through time, we awaken into greater awareness of what we are. Maybe consciousness is the fifth dimension, the bridge between physics and spirit, unseen but present. And maybe, just maybe, gravity is not a force of mass, but a pull of memory. A memory of unity, of wholeness, calling us back through time to the source. These are not wild fantasies. They are the next step after curved spacetime. Because Einstein showed us that nothing is what it seems, not even time itself. And if time can bend, if light can curve, then what else lies hidden? Life remains unexplained, its origin a singularity beyond chemistry, beyond Darwin, beyond chance. Some believe the answer is biological, others believe it is mathematical, but both fail. Because the moment life begins is not a reaction, it is a revelation. An emergence from silence, from pattern, from alignment with spacetime's deepest flow. The same flow that guides planets also births the first breath of life itself. And just as falling reveals gravity, perhaps dreaming reveals the path of consciousness. Every night, we disconnect from matter and float through inner dimensions of being. We are not hallucinating. We are shifting, tuning into layers of reality beneath this one. Dreams are not fantasy. They are memory, fragments of what the mind forgets by day. And perhaps they speak the same language as gravity, curved, flowing, nonlinear, and infinite. So where does this leave us? Walking between equations and experiences, between math and mystery. It leaves us awake, but not yet fully conscious, like children staring at ancient stars. We have formulas, but not understanding. We have measurements, but not meaning. Einstein handed us a compass, not a map, and now it is our turn. To follow the fall, to listen to the silence between calculations and questions. To trust that truth does not shout, it hums softly from the heart of spacetime. And maybe one day, someone will do what Einstein did, and more. They will walk through the dark room of unknowing and flip on the light. And when they do, it will seem obvious, like all true revolutions of thought. We will ask, how did we not see it? How did we miss the signs? But truth is not always hidden. Sometimes it is simply too quiet for noise. Until that day, we must stay curious, patient, humble, and willing to fall. Because falling is learning, falling is surrender, and falling is how we return home. The universe is not made of things. It is made of relationships, tensions, and patterns. Everything is connected by invisible curves, just waiting for us to recognize their flow. We are not bodies on Earth. We are arcs within spacetime, living stories in motion. Our purpose may not be to arrive, but to witness, to remember, to unfold. And every time we question, every time we wonder, the curve gets closer to the truth. Einstein didn't finish the work. He opened the door and walked through with wonder. Now we must follow, not with fear, but with the sacred hunger for awakening. So remember, you are not standing still. You are falling in perfect harmony with the cosmos. And in that fall, you may finally find what gravity always tried to tell you. If this shifted your mind, imagine what else awaits behind the veil of science. Subscribe now, join the movement, and help awaken the dreamers still trapped in illusion.